Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We'll get started in about 1 minute. Good morning, everyone. We'll just give people a minute or two more to join, and we'll get started very shortly, probably in another minute. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I think we'll get started. We know how very busy you are, and we really appreciate you choosing to spend the next 45 minutes with us. In today's webinar, we will provide you with an introduction to TigerGraph Cloud, the first native parallel graph database as a service. We hope you'll enjoy our webinar and find it informative. I'm David Ronald, Director of Product Marketing at TigerGraph. I have a master's degree in optoelectronic and laser devices from the University of St Andrews in Scotland. And prior to joining TigerGraph, I was with an innovative company developing virtual agents, or also known as intelligent chatbots, that improve the efficiency of IT customer support. And I'm excited to be joined today by my very capable colleague, Emma Liu, who has a master's degree in engineering systems from MIT. Emma helped Mark Logic develop and launch its database as a service solution, and has played a pivotal role in developing our cloud solution, which we'll be showing you today. And while at Oracle, Emma worked as a software engineer for their private cloud infrastructure engineered systems. Before we begin our workshop, here are some housekeeping items. Although your phone is muted, we do want to hear from you. So please submit your questions at any time using the Q&A tab in the Zoom UI as shown here. This webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded to our website shortly at the URL shown there. And we will also email the URL to you. If you have any issues, please contact Emma or myself via chat during the webinar, and we'll do our best to fix them. So, without further ado, here's the outline for our webinar. Three things we'll cover, three buckets of things we'll cover. Number one, why we developed TigerGraph Cloud and why you should consider using it. Two, how you get started with TigerGraph Cloud and how you use it. And three, what you will find on TigerGraph Cloud today and what we plan to add to it in the future. In a recent report, Gartner, a leading market research firm, said graph analysis is probably the single most effective competitive differentiator for organizations pursuing data-driven operations and decisions after the design of data capture. Gartner also estimates that the graph database and analytics market will grow at 100% annually through 2022, making it one of the fastest growing segments. And Gartner also named graph as one of the top 10 data and analytics technology trends for 2019. Indeed, Gartner put graph in the top half of that list. However, currently, it takes days to get started with graph database, weeks to build a proof of concept, months or years to deploy, if at all. Not only that, the capability is limited to a small group of data scientists, developers, and architects, very capable folks. And typically, these people are working on mega cloud initiatives at companies like Amazon, Facebook, Google, and other select Fortune 500 enterprises. Key point here, Graph, for all its capabilities, is not accessible to business users and analysts due to its complexity, the complexity of getting started. The majority of organizations today are looking for an easy way to get started in order to leverage the power of graph database and analytics. And that's where we come in. We developed TigerGraph Cloud to address these issues. TigerGraph Cloud is the first native parallel graph database as a service. TigerGraph Cloud enables everyone to unleash the power of interconnected data for deeper insights and better outcomes. TigerGraph Cloud enables you to get started in minutes, build a solution in hours, and deploy it to production in days. TigerGraph Cloud is built for agile teams who would rather develop innovative applications instead of spending time procuring hardware, configuring, and managing databases. And it's worth highlighting that you'll enjoy the same performance with the cloud implementation of TigerGraph that you get today with the on-premise version. Our native parallel graph database and analytics capabilities provide you the ability to model, query, and understand the relationships between data at massive scale in a fraction of the time required by alternatives. 4 key features of TigerGraph Cloud are shown here, and I'll convert these features into benefits for you. First, upper left, you'll enjoy the convenience of a software as a service model. There's no hardware to buy or manage, no hassles associated with integration of third-party applications, and you pay as you go. Second, you'll control how much you spend. We provide you flexible pricing and sizing options. Third, you'll save capacity. Our massively parallel processing reduces the memory needed to scale to billions of vertices and trillions of edges. And fourth, you'll avoid headaches. We back up your data automatically, we ensure your data is protected, and we offer 24/7 maintenance and support. And of course, with TigerGraph Cloud, you'll always be on the latest and greatest version of TigerGraph. And in order to help you get started quicker and easier, we've created over a dozen starter kits. These starter kits, as you can see, cover a wide range of use cases such as Customer 360, entity resolution, community detection, and more. And our intention is to add 2 to 3 starter kits to the platform every month. So there's always going to be something there to keep extending the capabilities of TigerGraph Cloud. And we'll demonstrate a couple of these starter kits to you in just a few minutes. And you'll see for yourself why we say that you can get started in minutes, build a solution in hours, and deploy it to production in days. So at this point, I'm going to break from my slides and walk you quickly through how to get started with TigerGraph Cloud. This is our homepage for those of you who don't recognize it. This is our website homepage. There's several ways you can get to TigerGraph Cloud. We're showing a couple here. First, you can click here on the Start Free button, or you can navigate up here to this tab and you can select TigerGraph Cloud. Another option is to go straight to the page, to the portal, tgcloud.us. But I'm going to go back to the website, if I can just clear, yep. Okay, so let's get started. Here is the tigergraph.com/cloud page, and key feature I wanted to demonstrate to you. Here we go. Is this video. This video was created by one of my colleagues in marketing. I'm not going to show it now, but if anything's unclear after we've gone through this walkthrough, you can always come back to this video. It's very complete. Additionally, the team has created very thorough FAQs and with over a dozen links that provide additional information. So this is very useful. to get started, you click here. If you're a returning user, you log in. If you already have an email, password, and if you're signing up for the first time, you click here. You enter your information. Okay, how many traffic lights? I always struggle with these. Let's see how I do today. I think that's it. Oh, there's one. Yep. Okay, did that work? Okay, great. So that seemed to work well. And if I go to my inbox, there's the authentication email. Activate your account, confirm your email address, click here. And a key thing that to highlight is at this point, I have the option of picking my own password. I'm not being provided one automatically by TigerGraph. So why don't I pick something? Okay. So now that I've got my email authenticated, I have got my password set up. I just need to log in. And voila. Okay, so when you log into TigerGraph Cloud for the first time, this is what you'll see. There's a message here saying you haven't completed the billing information. The backup restore function will be disabled for new solutions. And also, you'll see you have unused credits, $25 worth of unused credits. So if you intend to use TigerGraph Cloud extensively, it might be good for you to click over here, enter your credit card information, and then you're good to go. And if you do that, you'll have $25 of in credits to use. That's about 10 hours or so, typically 10 hours of usage. But I'm not going to do that. We have a free tier, and I'm going to take advantage of that free tier. So back to this screen, if I want to create a solution, you come down here to the lower right, click on this friendly blue button, and here is information on selecting a starter kit, and I wanted to focus your attention on this URL here. If you want information on any of our starter kits, you can click here. This is a very important thing to remember. When you click on that web page, or when you reach to that web page, there are a variety of helpful videos that walk through how to use each of these starter kits. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, there's over a dozen. We plan to add 2 or 3 more per month. I'm going to pick this one. You know it's picked when you have this blue tick. Scroll down here, enter the name. It can be anything you want. I'm just going to put in customer 360 because I'm not feeling especially creative today. This row pre-populates. And if I want to take advantage, or indeed if you want to take advantage of the free tier, you do that by clicking here. Okay, you have 8 vCPUs and 15 gigabits of memory. If you want to have more memory or more CPUs, then you probably want to think about entering your credit card information as I showed you earlier. But for now, I'll use the free tier. And again, it's free in perpetuity. We currently support, I think it's 6 AWS regions. I'm going to pick this one here because I'm in Northern California. Oh, and by the way, we'll be adding more regions in the very near future, but it's 6 today. You can select a disk size from 100 to 2500 gigabits. I would recommend just doing the minimum for now while you're getting started. Enter a subdomain. Then you can enter a description. And finally, come down here and select this button, and voila, it's that simple. So we've created a solution, Customer 360. It's provisioning. Typically, it takes 4 to 5 minutes to provision a solution. About 3 or 4 of that time frame is the back-end processes happening on AWS. And when this solution has finished provisioning, this button here will turn blue, and you're ready to go. I think you can agree with me that it does take 5 minutes to get started. As we said at the beginning, we've now got a solution provisioning, and we're ready to go. And with that, I'm going to pass things back to Emma to continue the presentation.
Right. Okay. So maybe the specific slide has some issue, but basically, if you want to use TigerGraph Cloud to provision your TigerGraph solutions and training your TigerGraph users and learn the graph analytics in popular use cases with simple clicks, and also working on some of the analytical workloads, TigerGraph Cloud is your best friend. And now we've seen that it's so easy to use TigerGraph Cloud. I want to walk you through how we make it so easy and what are the rich functionalities we offer on the cloud platform. And I want to spend a moment talking about how TigerGraph product team has spent some of our time designing and architecting the infrastructure. So when I joined TigerGraph a little over a year ago, I found that there is a gap in the industry to provide a smooth and seamless native graph database as a service. And TigerGraph is an awesome graph technology which many enterprises, large, medium, and small, are asking for, so that they can empower themselves with a similar graph capability with big technology companies such as Google, Facebook, LinkedIn. So TigerGraph made it its mission to make the product available on the cloud. And as I am in the company in the past year, I've seen that more and more customers are asking about when we're going to launching the database service. So I'm very happy that there's a synergy between my domain expertise and the vision of the company. And the demand for the database as service and the industry trend has also supported our vision. So TigerGraph entered a limited preview period for the database as service this March. And we showed prototypes and beta versions to multiple customers and users. And we got many feedback on how to improve and enhance our platform. So to many of you out there who provided feedback and enhancements requests, really appreciate your effort and time during the limited preview period. So to make the user experience so easy, just like what David just showed, we designed so that the complexity of the system are hidden and the maintenance, upgrade, and monitoring are taken care of from the platform automatically or by the TigerGraph experts on a continuing basis. All right. Here's the list of high-level TigerGraph Cloud V1 features. David, can you actually help me to show the slide? And it seems that there is a problem showing the slides from my end.
Sure.
Okay. So for TigerGraph Cloud version 1, there's a list of high-level features that we provide. It is a single server enterprise edition, and we support the self-service sign-up and registration. And you have free credits for the first-time sign-ups. And there's 8 tiers of instances, and we support 6 global regions. And it is flexible billing, and you can pay as you go. And we leverage the secure and isolated network VPC feature from AWS. And there is the fast data loading through S3 and local files. And we have the built-in backup restore and also rich metrics and application development through RESTful endpoints. So it is available tgcloud.us. David, next slide, please. I want to mention that we designed it so that it's very easy, fast, and flexible. TigerGraph Cloud has the easier control from the cloud portal, and you can start, stop, terminate on demand. And the pricing is pay as you go, and we meter your usage actually by seconds. With the start, stop, and terminate, it's easy for you to test and develop, and also use the systems non-continuously and only build for what you use for. TigerGraph Cloud Solutions also inherits the on-premise TigerGraph's Graph Studio Visual SDK, making it very fast to develop your graph schema, load data, and write queries. It is faster to administer as you can change your user password through the admin portal, and also getting the secrets for generating tokens for your query RESTful endpoints. The cloud solutions provide access to application development through the RESTful endpoints via the port 9000. And security is also handled by tokens generated from the admin portal secrets. Of course, there are 13 out-of-box starter kits for graph application with prepackaged sample dataset and queries. It covers many of the use cases, and our goal is to add it, as David mentioned earlier, 2 or 3 starter kits every month, and really making TigerGraph Cloud the platform for many, many more business use cases. And these common use cases from different verticals will become freely accessible at your fingertip. Next slide, please. So TigerGraph Cloud is also designed with security, robustness, and reliability as the highest priority. It has the built-in backup and restore, and by default, it's making backups on a daily basis, and you can choose to make backups on weekly, monthly frequency. And we keep 7 copies of the backups for version 1. And the restore feature allows you to restore from the same solution or from different solutions in your account. And Cloud Portal also includes a fantastic system monitoring panel with rich metrics. I will show a screenshot later, and it encompasses all the metrics in TigerGraph on-prem version and added more metrics. So we leveraged the AWS security feature Virtual Private Cloud, VPC concept, to provide a secure and isolated environment for different users. Each user has its own VPC and their own S3 bucket for backups. We also follow security best practice and turn on encryption in transit and at rest. Next slide, please. Here's the system monitoring metrics on the TigerGraph Cloud portal. And it's actually pretty unique to our TigerGraph Cloud portal solution. So I will also show on the live system later. Okay, next slide, please. Of course, so TigerGraph Cloud is managed fully and maintained and supported 24/7. And we follow an agile development and upgrade schedule. We upgrade to latest TigerGraph versions and implement security system patches as they come at earliest time possible. And Cloud Portal also upgrades with new enhancements on a regular basis. So in terms of the instance types and regions and starter kits, we frequently roll out new tested combinations, providing you with more options and flexibility. So of course, last but not least, we are going to expand into other cloud platforms. TigerGraph Cloud V1 is based on AWS public cloud, but soon in the future version, we will be on Azure and GCP. So remember, TigerGraph is actually cloud agnostic. So you can run your data anywhere you want, and there's no vendor locking. And TigerGraph Cloud's mission is to provide cloud agnostic user experience to all our customers. Next slide. Now I'm going to shift gear a little bit and cover a bit more in detail on TigerGraph Cloud pricing and sizing with you. Next slide. So most people have seen this picture, the cost iceberg. We all know that there can be large hidden costs of IT spending below the water surface. The issue of the hidden cost is actually twofold. when we think in terms of the total cost of ownership on cloud. So first, the hidden costs include the expenses in the following area. For example, the hosting and maintaining of servers, the staffing costs, the DBAs responsible to install and manage and maintain and upgrade databases. Also training costs for both the IT and database personnel. So of course, then there's the software licensing cost. And second, with the cloud computing, people may not realize that some of the cost is not easy to notice and budget, as the variable cost based on IO rate or data transfer fee. And next. So we actually want to avoid that, making the total cost of ownership lower by running TigerGraph systems for you in the cloud, including all the installation, management, maintenance, upgrade, and all taken care of TigerGraph experts. And it's very easy to budget your running TigerGraph Cloud solutions. Next, please. So with TigerGraph Cloud, the total cost of ownership is really lowered by the transparent pricing and with this simple formula. So when your solution is running, when you see the standby state on Cloud Portal, the price is instance, disk, and backup unit price multiplied by time when the solution is running. And when your solution is stopped, the price is disk and backup multiplied by time. Here, the instance price varies by the machine specs. Disk and backup differs by the amount of space you allocated to the instance when you provision. It's very easy to budget compared to the on-prem installation. You don't need to invest in too much cloud and DBA staffing costs and training. And compared to other solutions, this is very straightforward. And it's very easy for you to budget as there's no hidden cost based on IO or data transfer fee. Next, please. So we also offer lowered total cost of ownership by having the optimized hardware efficiency, which is from the TigerGraph engine architecture. Our native graph storage and MPP architecture enables us to have the data compression rate of 50% to 80% compared to the raw data. And we're 6 to 100 times faster than other earlier generations of graph databases. So we require less memory for computation. Let's use this data compression rate of 70% here. So the assumption here is the raw data is compressed 70% into our system. So when you think about the instance types to choose, the relationship with your raw data, you can use the rule of thumb calculation in this table. We usually allow slightly less than half the memory size compared to the TigerGraph stored data size. For example, on the first row, 15 gig of memory is a bit over 2 times of the 7 gig of stored data size. So then we can calculate the allowed upper bound for the raw data. So here, 10 gig is considering that there's 70% of compression rate. So if there's 60% compression rate, then it's about 11.6 gig of raw data that you can think about entering and loading into the TigerGraph solutions. So when you think about the disk, the minimum option for disk size is 100 gig, and upper bound here is a 2500 gig. But depending on your raw data size, you can use the ratio from the table. It's about 3 times of the memory of the machine. Of course, the compression rate can vary depending on your graph structure and complexity of the data. We really recommend you trying to import your data. And this is the beauty of the cloud, and you can try and calculate the compression rate and experiment with different instance types. When you almost reach the upper bound of particular instance type, you should consider changing to the next tier instance. So we also recommend you to discuss with our pre-sales organization to get a better sense on the sizing. Next, please. Yeah, so it is 11.6 gig if there's a 60% of compression rate. So yes, there are both free options available to you. There are free credits and free tier instance. So first, there's the $25 free credits for all first-time registrations. You can use this to any tier of instance and use any of the starter kit. When you use the free credit and do not have a credit card in the account, you get all the features except that backup feature is not built in. Second, for all the accounts, you're allowed to provision one free tier instance, tg.free, which is a machine with 8 vCPU and 15 gig memory. You can use in all starter kits, and it is always on when you're using it. Our system automatically detected if there's more than 2 hours idling time, and will stop the instance when system idling is detected. When you come back to the portal after a few hours, you can restart the stopped solutions. And the termination policy for the free tier instance and the free credits are slightly different. For instances created using free credits, when you use up the free credits and there's no valid credit card in the system, the solutions will be terminated. So one tip, if you have modified your queries and schemas and want to use it again in your free tier instance and free credit instance, you can save the tarball by exporting the solution. So I will show that when I go to the demo and click on the export current solution link to export the whole solution. So this download will include the schema and the queries and the loading jobs, but it doesn't include the data set. So when do you want to move from the free tier to paying accounts? It is when you want to have a continuous running production system. You need to enter a credit card to use a regular tier product. Next, please. So TigerGraph Cloud application starter kits. David already mentioned that we offer 13 different starter kits here. So I want to go into 2 of them, which is the most recent ones that we added to all of the use cases. Next, please. So the Customer 360 engagement attribution and entity resolution. So these are the 2 that, for example, the entity resolution, we just have this use case presented in the Graph Guru webinar 2 weeks ago, and we're able to include this solution into our new launch of TigerGraph Cloud V1. So we're very agile. Next, please. So the Customer 360 is for customer engagement and attribution, and you can really find the customer journey for how they purchase and buy your products and how you might want to improve your engagement through the insights that generated from different customer journey analysis. So now I'm going to share my screen again and actually going to the live system. And let's look at this system. All right, so I am currently in the TigerGraph Cloud dashboard. So I already signed up for the system, and now you can see that I've created total solutions of 8 solutions, and I have a balance of $52, $52.9, and there's no unused credits. And you can see all the different standby solution, stopped, and terminated solution. And also you can see the different types of starter kits that I use. Entity resolution, Customer 360, and of course you can see my monthly usage here. And the latest activities, these are the things that you can record what happened in your cloud account. And now I'm going to my solutions. You can see the 8 solutions here, and I have 2 solution standby. One is the Customers 360. Now I'm going to, you can see that there's the IP instance type that I chose, and the AWS region, the EU West 2, and the VPC and subnet. This is for the security, isolating from the other accounts. Creation date, and let's update it. So if I click on this, I can open the solution here. Now it takes me to the Customer 360 demo that I created earlier. And here is the schema of the Customer 360. And you can see, okay, there's the context that's in your, say, Salesforce system. And there's accounts, opportunity, campaign member, lead. So this is the schema and in this particular starter kit. The next step is map data to graph. And this one is loading the data. And when you start a new starter kit, you need to load the data by start loading, pressing this button here. I already loaded the data before this webinar. You can see that status here is finished. You can actually monitor the whole loading process on the right-hand side. We have all the statistics and also loading status here. And in the Explore Graph here, you can pick 5 vertices. And showing here, there's the different leads and by the first name, last name, company, all these information here. And you can play around with different vertex types. And the last step, you can write a query. So this is the schema that's showing here. And we already have 2 prepackaged query. And when you first start the solution, you also need to load the queries by clicking the load button here. I already loaded the solution queries, so I will just run the queries here. Clicking here, and use the sample input. Sam Eisenberg. Opportunity is here. When I run the query, you can see that, okay, I find the subgraph of how, Sam Eisenberg is engaged in our product. Okay, so there's a free trial that he downloaded, and there's a webinar, GSQL webinar part 1, test drive, as well as the developer edition. He downloaded TigerGraph developer edition, and he also did the GSQL white paper, downloaded the white paper. So we know how Sam Eisenberg actually, what his engagement with TigerGraph is. All right, so let me show you some of the admin portal features. If you click on the right-hand side here in TigerGraph Solutions, you can actually see the dashboard of the system here and the user management. And this is unique for the TigerGraph solution on TigerGraph Cloud. You can change your password here for accessing your TigerGraph system in the internet. So it's more secure. And it's actually mandatory when you first start the solution and change the password. Here, creating secret, as I mentioned earlier, when you do the application development, you need to create the secret and so that you can generate the token for the REST endpoints of all the queries. And the next part I'm going to show is the backup restore. So here it's stayed at the daily frequency, and you can, when you're doing the ad hoc, if you want to do the ad hoc backup, you need to provide a password there so that you can start the backup. And when you're doing the restore, you need to provide the backup tags from here, copy the backup tag to the clipboard and enter here, and provide the password of when the backup was created and click on the restore button on the right-hand side. Then you'll start the restore process. So I won't start any of the restore process here. And in the future webinars, we'll go into more of the detail on how to do each of these steps. Okay, let me go back to my cloud portal here. I want to show another cool feature, which is the monitoring feature that I mentioned. There's the rich set of different system metrics like CPU, load the disk, memory, network. So this is very cool statistics, and you can monitor your TigerGraph solutions from here. All right, let me go back to my portal. We just did the Customer 360 demo, and let me go to the entity resolution. So I just want to quickly show you guys that, okay, this is a very popular use case as well. And we did another webinar about 2-3 weeks ago, the Graph Guru 18, and walked through the entire use case and also did the demo. And since that webinar happened before the cloud launch, we were actually able to capture the entire starter kit and add it to our platform. So this is what how we're talking about adding these starter kits on a very frequent basis. Like, every month we're going to add 2 or 3. These are coming from, the development from our internal teams and just experiences from talking to our prospects and customers and some of the popular use cases in different verticals. So we're very excited that we can help and guide our new customers and prospects through different use cases. All right, so one thing I want to show is here, if you click on FAQ, you get to a richer set of the FAQ from the TigerGraph documentation website. So there's the quick start video that David also mentioned, that if you have issues to start, and this is a good video to watch, but then there's a lot more contents here, different links and sizing, pricing, hardware, provisioning, backup. So a lot more of the details here. And if you have questions, and you can submit the support tickets. So if I have a general question, and if you say it's a hi, and I have a question, and submit. So after you submit your ticket, a TigerGraph engineer will help you shortly. All right. And if I go to my account, I'm able to see my profile information, change password, and also go into the different billing information and balance. You can see actually buy different starter kits. That's very cool. Let me just go back to the presentation. David, I'm going to stop share and you can come back to the presentation.
Sounds good. Thank you, Emma. Mm-hmm. That was excellent, very thorough. In fact, I learned a lot from your presentation. Now we're running a wee bit short time, so let's be cognizant of how much time we have remaining. But now would be an opportunity for you to submit your questions if you haven't already done so. We've got a few questions that have come in during Emma's presentation. But again, if you haven't submitted a question, we would love to hear from you. So the way to do that is through the Q&A button as we've shown here. So one of the questions that came in is, how long is that free tier free? And the answer is in perpetuity. It's free. There's no limitations. Let's see here. Somebody else asked, they were trying to add a second solution to the free tier, and it wasn't being accepted or getting an error message. And that the reason is currently we only allow one solution in that free tier. So if you want to change solution, you need to terminate your first one, and then you can create a second or a replacement solution. But keep in mind that when you do that, of course, you'll lose all your data. Emma, question for you. When will you add more AWS solutions?
You mean the instances and regions?
Yeah, I think.
So yeah, so we are. Yeah, so we are going to, test in more regions and more different instance types, and we'll roll out either on a monthly basis or bi-monthly basis, adding more of the regions. And of course, like if you have specific requests, and you can submit the enhancement request to us by providing feedback at tgcloud-feedback@tigergraph.com. So later we'll show that email address so that we can consider, what is the urgency and need and priority for the specific instance and region. And maybe it is a suitable and optimized instance type, or maybe it is not. So we'll look at your request and evaluate the different instance types and regions. Yeah.
Another question that came in from the audience is, when is my credit card billed?
It is at the beginning of the month, end of the month.
All right. Well, again, if you want to submission, but at present, I think those are all questions we have. So, Emma, if you're okay, I think I'll the next, the last couple of slides presentation. So I talked about there are a rich variety of resources available. We showed you the top, the TigerGraph Cloud page, tigergraph.com/cloud. On that page, you'll find, and again, within there are multiple links to different types of documentation, both written and also video. And also there's the starter kit page, and that alone has a video associated with each one of the starter kits to help you get started quicker. And of course, as always, we'd love to have you follow us on our various social media platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And oh, lost one slide. We have a series of videos series of webinars called Graph Gurus. We're currently, I think, on the 18th or 19th of those, 18th or 19th episode of those. We recently introduced an in-person version of Graph Gurus, which we call Graph Gurus Comes to You. We have had meetings in Minneapolis and San Jose, and we'll be in Austin and Columbus later this month. So keep an eye open for a Graph Gurus workshop coming to your neck of the woods. And if you don't want to wait and would like to organize a workshop in your city, please contact us. And that brings us to the end of our webinar. We know you're very busy, and we truly appreciate that you've chosen to spend the past 45 minutes with us. We're very flattered. We sincerely hope it to be informative, and we hope that our enthusiasm for TigerGraph Cloud has been contagious. We'd love to hear from you. Please don't be shy about reaching out to either Emma or myself. Our email addresses are shown here. Or if you have a general comment about TigerGraph Cloud, you can send an email to tgcloud-feedback@tigergraph.com. And that ends our webinar. Thank you very much for attending, and goodbye for now.